So the mediocrity stops. So the murder stops. That has to happen, and that's why we're here today. Say their names. Clifford T. Manuel. A 39-year-old black man, Seaford, Delaware, on August 2nd, 1999. Clifford was shot and killed after being stopped for riding his bike after dark. He loved his wife and stepchildren and playing basketball.
Say their names. Rodney Banks LaLusa, 30-year-old Samoan man, Honolulu. In January 22nd, 1998, Rodney was struck by 14 bullets from police officers for holding two knives. A former cellmate of Rodney said he was depressed and tried to commit suicide by having the cops kill him. Witnesses said the cops shot him twice. Rodney fell to his knees, dropped the knives, and he was shot several times after.
Say their names. Cedric Harris, a 27-year-old black man, Shreveport, Louisiana. On July 24th, 1998, Cedric, a wheelchair-bound paraplegic, was shot in the back and killed.
Say their names. Shaniqua Proctor, an 18-year-old black woman, Bessemer, Alabama. On November 1st, 2014, Shaniqua was arrested for disorderly conduct. Shaniqua suffered from asthma, but guards ignored her request for treatment. She was found in her cell dead the next morning. The police department refused to release the video footage of her in her cell to her family.
Say their names. Johnny Anderson, a 42-year-old Latino man, Los Angeles. On July 5th, 2015, Johnny was fixing a bicycle in a vacant house he and his wife were staying in. When the police drove up, he ran away out of fear of the repressive gang injunctions. The police chased and shot him as he surrendered.
Say their names. Margaret Laverne Mitchell, a 54-year-old black woman, Los Angeles. In May 21st, 1999, Margaret was a homeless woman and mentally ill. She was stopped by police officers in the street under the suspicion of stealing a grocery cart that she was pushing her belongings in. A police officer went after Margaret and shot her in the back. The police officer claimed that she had a screwdriver and lunged after him.
Say their names. Carlos Oliva Sola, a 23-year-old Latino man, East LA. On September 10th, 2013, Carlo was shot and killed by LA sheriffs because he fit the description of someone carrying a gun in the area.
Say their names. Idris Stelly, a 23-year-old black man, San Francisco. On June 13th, 2001, Idris, who was known to be mentally ill and armed with a 2-inch blade, was shot 10 times in a movie theater. His girlfriend had called 911 for help, thinking they would know how to deal with him during his episode.
Say their names. Tyler Damon Woods, a 19-year-old black man, Long Beach, California. On November 19th, 2013, Tyler was shot and killed on the roof of an apartment building near 4th Street and Nebraska Avenue. Friends remember Tyler as a loving father and a goofy friend with a silly sense of humor.
Say their names. Matthew Ajibade, a 21-year-old Nigerian man in Savannah, Georgia. On January 1st, 2015, Matthew was taken to jail after a mental health crisis. He was stripped, beaten, kicked, handcuffed, and was strained in a chair. He was tased multiple times, including on his genitals. He died in the early hours of January 2nd in his cell, still tied to a chair.
Say their names. Frankie Ann Perkins, a 37-year-old black woman, Chicago. On March 22nd, 1997, Frankie was stopped on the street by cops claiming they saw her swallow drugs and tried to get her to spit them out. She was strangled to death, and autopsy photos showed bruises on her face and ribcage. No drugs were ever found.
Say their names. Shakir McNear, a a 16-year-old black teenager, Fayetteville, North Carolina. On October 13, 2013, Shakir was shot and killed by police who were responding to a domestic disturbance call. He was trying to protect his mother, who was being arrested. There was a conflict in witness statements as whether or not Shakir was armed or not, with a gun that was found at the scene, but never tested for fingerprints.
Say their names. Charnel Edwards, a 49-year-old black woman, Las Vegas. On April 21st, 2012, police followed Charnel due to a report that she took her friend's car without permission and that his gun was inside. 5 police officers shot her multiple times after pulling her over, claiming she came at them with the gun. Some witnesses say she had a cell phone. Others say she had her hands up.
Say their names. John Crawford III, a 24-year-old black man, Beaver Creek, Ohio. On August 5th, 2015, John was in Walmart with his girlfriend and picked up a toy BB rifle. A customer called 911. Surveillance video showed that the cops shot John within a second without even giving him orders to drop the gun, the BB gun.
Say their names. Jerome Murdoch, a 56-year-old black man, Rikers Island. On February 15, 2014, Jerome was arrested for sleeping in a stairwell to avoid inclement weather and sent to Rikers because he was unable to make bail. His cell's temperature exceeded 100 degrees, and when checked upon 4 hours later, he was found dead with an internal temperature of 103 degrees.
Say their names. Dewana Johnson, a 43-year-old black transgendered woman, Memphis, Tennessee. On February 12, 2008, Dewana was profiled and arrested for prostitution, though there was no evidence. A video captured the booking cop yelling transphobic slurs at her, wrapping a pair of handcuffs around his knuckles and savagely beating her in the face while another cop held her down. He pepper sprayed her, pushed her to the floor, and handcuffed her. Both cops were sentenced to 2 years in prison. About 9 months later, Dewana was found dead, shot execution style. The police currently have no suspects.
Say their names. Corey D. Kanash, a 35-year-old member of the Paiute tribe of Utah, Kanosh Band, Utah. On October 15, 2012, Corey was killed by 2 close-range shots after a car chase. Police claim that the vehicle Corey was in was stolen, but it was not. Corey's family is still waiting for any answers as to actually what happened. Corey was a champion men's traditional dancer and artist.
Say their names. James Bradley Wren, a 35-year-old man, Preston, Washington. On August 10th, 1996, James was set up as a scapegoat and blamed for an arson as part of a police sergeant's insurance fraud scheme. After being forced to sign a confession for these crimes, James was killed. The sergeant is now facing life in prison.
Say their names. Frank Lee Smith, a 50-year-old black man, North Florida. On January 30th, 2000, Frank died of cancer after spending 14 years on death row, convicted for the rape and murder of an 8-year-old girl, which he did not commit. He died in prison 10 months after being exonerated on December 15th, 2000.
Say their names. Antonio Golden, an 18-year-old black teenager, Linwood, California. On February 19th, 1997, Antonio was shot twice in the back by sheriffs while riding his bike. Who handcuffed him after they shot him and let him die on the scene. He was scheduled to leave on July 9th for boot camp with the U.S. Navy.
Which was supposed to be safe. Who got arrested for October 24. Mohammed was my son. He never committed a crime on his life. It's been 3 years since NYD police officer shot my son in his own apartment for no reason, just for racism and discrimination. It's been 2 years since the DOD threw the case for Mohammed for no reason. I've been struggling, looking for justice, the case going on.
With an individual that he knew, and he was involved in a fight with an undercover police officer who never identified himself. And that police officer had murdered somebody 2 years prior. So if they would have took action for him murdering somebody 2 years before my uncle, he would have never got the chance to murder my uncle. And I'm here on these politicians and these lawmakers because with pressure, even pipes burst. So let's